everybody. See lots of faces, well, not faces, lots of names, old and new people that we have on our calls all the time, and some new names. And we're so happy to have everyone here. We are joined today with Scott Jonard, our on-staff veteran tech director, who is exceedingly passionate about the topic we're talking about today, which is creating sustainable one-to-one initiatives.
Unreasonably so, Kate. Unreasonably passionate
unreasonably passionate, uncomfortably passionate about it. And we also have our friend Preston from Instant IQ, who is going to talk a little bit about that integration that you just saw in our little teaser trailer with Instant IQ. That's going to allow you to integrate your Trafera warranty workflows and repairs in Instant IQ. So having all of that all in one spot. But I will just pass it over. Oh, wait, I forgot all my housekeeping things. All the important things that I have to talk about here. If you're new here, pretty much the only housekeeping thing I have to talk about is if you are interested in receiving that $5 coffee gift card, which we love to give away as part of our coffee and convo series, please make sure you stick around until the end to do that exit survey. And as a reminder, you needed to have also registered with a valid school work email address to qualify for that. If for whatever reason you auto-populated with a Gmail or something else, you can just email me. I will put my email in the chat. You can just email me the right email address to send it to, and we'll get you that gift card. Otherwise, if you have questions throughout the session, ask them in the chat. I will be watching that. Scott will be watching that. Preston will be watching that, and we will get to your questions throughout the session and at the end during Q&A. All right, that is all I have to say. So I will pass it over to Scott now.
Thank you, Kate. I am so stoked to be here talking with you and have Preston Wynn from Incident IQ with me, who I've gotten to know recently, talking about something like we said that I'm so passionate about, which is creating sustainable one-to-one initiatives. And then I'm fired up about this new integration we're doing with Incident IQ. So I'm super stoked to get into it. As a reminder, Kate is going to be monitoring the chat. I'm going to be monitoring the chat. So toss your questions in there. There will be time for Q&A at the end, as well as we might have a couple of opportunities to kind of see how you guys are if you have any questions as well. But this is great. I'm going to share my screen and we can jump into it. Yeah, let's jump in. So we're talking about keys to creating sustainable one-to-one programs. And you know what, actually, silly me, I should probably do an introduction here. My name is Scott Jonard. I am super stoked to be talking here. I'm a longtime educator, spent about 15 years in education. In that capacity, I was a special ed teacher, tech coordinator, principal, director of technology. And back 1 year ago, just this past week, I went from being a very happy Trafera customer to being an even happier Trafera employee, where I'm a teaching and learning consultant, meaning I get to work with amazing partners like Incident IQ and amazing customers like you guys on talking about one-to-one implementation, talking about sustainability, talking about how we can make our technology make that impact that we want it to be. So I'm stoked to be here. I'll toss it over to Preston for a little introduction.
Hey everybody, Preston Wynn. I am the Director of Product Marketing and Strategic Partnerships at Instant IQ. So, we have established a very, I think, impactful and meaningful partnership with Trafera. Excited to share it with you today. Just as a housekeeping item, I am on my way to the Wind Rivers Range in Wyoming to go backpacking. I am literally partway there, connected to Wi-Fi at a Walmart, but it seems to be working great. So I'm dressed a little casually today, but I would not miss this for the world and appreciate everyone's understanding. But am I coming through loud and clear, Scott?
Sounds great, buddy. Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. And I will say, as an aside, super jealous. I spent tons of time backpacking in college years. Haven't been since I did my last 10-day trip when my son, my third kid in 2.5 years, was about 6 months old. Went on a 10-day backpacking trip, came back, and my wife was like, that's the last one for a while. But I'm due. He's 9 now. I think I might be able to get one soon. So So super jealous. Have a great time, Preston. All right, let's jump into this. Super stoked to be talking about this. So we're going to be talking about a couple of different things in this conversation today. We're going to be talking about how to create a sustainable one-to-one program. And we're going to be going over some things that maybe you've seen in the past, or maybe it'll be new to you. And then we're going to be jumping into this awesome integration with Incident IQ. And if you aren't familiar with Incident IQ, it's just an awesome asset management system, streamlines your ticketing, all this. And now we have this integration where it seamlessly integrates with our warranty and repair process. If you didn't see the video at the beginning, it's awesome. As someone who unfortunately was not an Incident IQ customer when I was a tech director, I had all those spreadsheets I managed, Google Sheets and everything else. I just look at this stuff and I'm drooling over it to a degree. So super, super excited to get into it. But where kind of we wanted to start with talking about is that idea of creating a sustainable one-to-one program. Now, these same initiatives, same kind of philosophies can go into any sort of tech initiative that you have. Maybe you're doing a big IFP adoption. You know, you're putting a bunch of new line panels or Promethean boards out there, or you're doing one-to-one, or you're doing an adoption for new teacher devices, whatever it might be. It really kind of fits for all of them, but particularly, I think, with the impact of one-to-one. I think the question you have to start with that always drive to is your technology making the instructional impact you need it to? So when we talk about technology, we make these massive investments of time, of effort, of energy, and of money into these initiatives. We always have to go back to, we need to be improving and enhancing the instructional practice going on in the classroom. So I always kind of go back to that driving question, that focus question about what's happening in the classroom instructionally. Now, I've spent years teaching new teachers, mentoring teachers, working with teachers. And one of the things I talk to teachers over and over and over again about is frustration of the profession. So whether we're talking about teacher retention, whether we're talking about access and accessibility, equity for our students, really what we want to do, what I felt my job is as an educator, as a leader, as someone involved in educational technology, is to make that process of teaching and learning in the classroom as seamless and as wonderful as possible. And I think that what we need to do is make our technology seamless and the experience wonderful, and one that they can rely on, and really have that confidence that every single time that teacher says, you know, take out your Chromebooks, open up your Google Classroom, go to this assignment, all their students will be able to pop open their devices, get on that Google Classroom. 100% of the students have access 100% of the time. That's our goal. So how do we get there, though? I believe that there's elements of the things that we need to get there today. And I think that there's three things we're going to go into greater detail. These are the foundational things, you know, that what you're going to build your house upon. You wanted to build it on a solid foundation so that you can build up from there. Starts with asset management. We're going to go into what that looks like. You have to have a warranty repair cycle and communication about that. And then you need to have a roadmap to kind of tell you where you're going to be going. So let's break into that. The first thing that I think is key is asset management. Now, asset management, and with like all of these things, you know, there's lots of ways to skin a cat. There's lots of ways to do these things, but you need to make sure you have a system in place. You also want to make sure that your data is accurate and that you're getting the data you need. I'll tell you what I did. I was very happy. Like I said, Trinity 3 customer before I was Trinity 3 before the adoption between the merge between the two companies to make Trafera. Years ago, about 6 years ago, I started with Trinity 3, and I had spreadsheet after spreadsheet after spreadsheet. I had all these queries. I was pulling in data from the Google admin console. I was linking that with data we were pulling from our library system. Where we had our Chromebooks managed. I was pulling in data that pulling in reports from our our warranty repair tracker with Trinity 3, all sorts of stuff so that I could have an accurate window. Because when I was a principal in a tech director, I wanted to know what every single one of my devices was doing, where are we at, really taking ownership of that aspect. But it was complicated. It was really, really complicated. And today, we can't really have that layer of complexity. I was very fortunate that I had a background and tons of experience in creating those queries and creating all those spreadsheets, but it was a huge burden too to manage that. And I was never confident about the accuracy of my data because it wasn't real time. And Preston was sharing a story with me. He was talking with a customer and who said that there's audits happening right now where they really are having to come back, and the state's coming in talking about COVID funding or different funding sources and saying, hey, we see that you purchased Chromebook 47 using ESSER funds or using these ECF funds. I need to know where that is and who's using it, what student is assigned to, where is it in your process. And the ability to pull that up right now is so critically important. It's also critically important, not just for auditing purposes, but one of the things I talk with districts about over and over and over again in their adoption is having really strong principal ownership, site ownership of those devices. And as a principal, if you could go in and say, hey, these are the devices that are at my campus, how are they going out there? This is what's out for repair. This is what's assigned to whom. This is having that window of data is so critically important. I just couldn't express how important that is. Now, again, you don't have to have an incident IQ solution. You could have a different asset management solution. You could have the spreadsheets. You could have the management. You just need to know what your pain points are with that data. You need to know that you have a system in place. You need to know how often that data is getting updated, what that sequence is, and you need to make sure you're getting the right data and you're sharing it with the right people. So the first thing I feel like you need is asset management, knowing what you have, knowing where it is, knowing how it's being used. The next key component, I think, in creating a sustainable one-to-one initiative is the warranty and repair cycle. You guys know, I know, no matter how good your systems are, no matter how good your students are, you're going to have broken devices. And realistically, you're probably going to have somewhere on the range of 7 to maybe as high as 20% of your devices broken annually. That's kind of the spectrum we see out there. Hopefully you're closer to the 7. Maybe you're middle school and you can be closer to that 20% rate or so. But really what we need to know, and you really need to be able to track and have that understanding, is what is that process going to look like? What is that process that says, okay, a student has a broken Chromebook because they tossed their pencil into their Chromebook, shut the Chromebook screen, cracked their screen that morning while they were packing up for school. What's that process for them? How are you going to increase that instructional uptime so that the student can be back in the classroom with a device that they can use? Again, trying to reach that 100% of students have access 100% of the time to their devices. And that really goes into a warranty and repair process. So part of that is knowing how many of your devices are going out for repair. What is that warranty process, that repair process look like? Are you doing in-house repairs? Are you partnering with someone like Trafera for repairs? And then how long is that sequence going to take so that we can enhance that process? I'll tell you what I did 6 years ago when I implemented one-to-one at my charter program, where I was a principal and director of tech. I knew I needed support in this area. I knew I needed to have as much uptime with my devices as possible in the classroom. And I went out and I said, I need the best warranty out there. I had a part-time tech about 4 hours a week. I did not want him spending 4 hours a week fixing cracked screens and keyboards and things like that. I needed him to make sure that the instruction was happening properly in the classroom and all those other elements were happening. So I went to a conference, I met a bunch of vendors, and I said, listen, this is what I need. This is how many devices I need. What's the best warranty you could do? Went up to the Trinity 3 booth. They said, this is our warranty. This is what it looks like. It covers ADP, covers everything. I said, done, let's go. 6 years later, I'm now working for them, talking to other people because I had such an incredible experience. But you really need to have something in place so that people really know what that process is. And what we'll show you, again, I'm going to refer to this not only here, talking about this incident IQ, but I love the transparency and that integration that you're going to get that marries the two. But really kind of having that process, having that knowledge for your people that says, okay, this is the sequence. This is exactly what it looks like when Sally has that cracked screen. This is, they're going to go to the library. They're going to get a loaner device. They're going to turn it in. Your library tech's going to submit the ticket. Whatever happens after that, you really want to make sure that you know what that sequence is. Again, you do not have to have a Trafera warranty on your devices. Nobody's perfect. However, you need to have something and you need to know what that process is. You need to know exactly what the expectations are, and you need to be following up on that. So we have asset management. You're rocking and rolling with that. You've got Incident IQ integrated. You know where all of your devices are. You've got an awesome warranty and repair cycle so that you know exactly what every device is doing, so that you can guarantee as close to possible that 100% of your students have access 100% of the time. However, there's something else that's missing. And that's really having a roadmap. Something that says that your teachers, that your admin, that everyone know that the integration of technology is not just a today thing, but it's part of a sequence. It really connects from where you were to where you're going. You want to have timelines, team, focus, goals, purpose. How are you going to measure success? Really kind of having those things so that you can mitigate a lot of those concerns that I hear over and over and over from teachers when it comes to any initiatives. And that's like, well, this is just a fly by the pants thing. Next time the superintendent comes, there's going to be some new initiative. This is going to go away. We're going to have something else down the line. So you lack that commitment and that interest. And really what you want to do is create a culture of confidence. So that breeds a culture of trying new things and feeling safe for your educators to really engage at a very high level with technology to make that impact. And, when you don't have that commitment, when you don't have that knowledge base, when you don't have that sequence where everybody knows what they're doing, you can run into a lot of problems. There's a story I have. I was walking a campus once, and I tell the story often, so maybe some of you have heard it before, but I was walking a campus with a director of technology at their site. Now, this school district, they have about 35,000 students, and we were on one of their sites, just talking, chatting, and this is this is last year, so students are back from COVID. Everything's rocking and rolling. We're talking about their technology, what's happening in the classroom, this and that. And we go to an IDF closet. And right next to that closet, we open the door and there's just stacks and stacks and stacks of broken Chromebooks, just all over the place, probably a couple hundred. in there. And he had no clue what was happening with that. So he went to the principal, asked the principal what was going on. The principal just didn't know what to do with all these broken Chromebooks. It was just shoving them in to this closet and assumed, because it was the closet next to the IDF, that the tech would at some point go and get them and figure it out, and they would get repaired or whatever happened to the complete lack of awareness, complete lack of commitment and ownership. And they really, and then they did an audit of their district and found out that they had thousands and thousands of these broken Chromebooks that no one knew where they were. No one knew what happened to them. There was zero accountability and tracking for where they were, what was happening with them, how they were being used. Fortunately, that district really attacked that. I was able to work with them on kind of implementing some new plans, some new communication strategies, and they seem to be doing much better now. But really, that's what you really want to avoid. And that's why I'm so committed to this philosophy and this mission that we have, where we really want to make sure that we're not only enhancing the integration, but also the effectiveness of classroom technology. And we really kind of attack that from many different angles, really want to make sure that you not just equipped with the right technology in the classroom, but all the supporting tools that you need to kind of get you to where you need to go. So as part of that, I'm so excited about this Incident IQ Trafera integration. I'm going to toss it over to Preston, who's kind of going to go into what Incident IQ looks like and how it connects. But it is such an awesome tool. I'm stoked about that. But I'll toss it over to Preston.
Right. Thank you, Scott. Thank you.
Thanks,
And thanks for everyone for being here today. So what I want to talk about is the work that we've done as two companies to what have we done to help you achieve a more sustainable one-to-one program, and just have a discussion about that, and also kind of paint the picture of what the integration is. I think you probably have a good sense of it, and then, answer any questions that you might have about that. So, all right, let's head on to the next slide here a little bit. So, essentially what we've done is we've taken our help desk ticketing product that I think most or all of you have, and used did a sort of an API driven connection with Trafera to allow you, I guess, to not only take and work those tickets, but from the ticket itself, from the asset-based ticket that was submitted by a teacher or a principal or a student or whatever your system is, to be able to look at that and have your agents make a judgment call on whether this is a full warranty, or whether if you do in-house repairs, you just need parts, right, that are covered. So that's really what we've done. And to be able to do that in a single pane of glass. And really, I think, as I've talked to customers that are starting to go live with this, what they're saying is just what Scott said, which is, I can get rid of this spreadsheet with many hundreds of lines, of rows in it, so just really kind of get this and really have real-time sense of what's going on with your devices at any given point in time. So really, again, what we're saying is on the right-hand side of the slide, just see like, what are you gaining? You're gaining like a single experience to create a help desk ticket, submit the covered devices to Trafera for warranty repair or parts, if that's what you're doing, track the repair process in real time, just so you know, like that's in real time. So when you've shipped it, when it's been received, when it's repaired and when it's on its way back. To Scott's point of, managing multiple spreadsheets, I mean, they're out of date immediately, right? Almost, right? And then you have to update them every week. So getting rid of that, even generating your shipping labels that you need, right? And just, I think one of the things that maybe we actually haven't, we launched this, we started talking about this at ISTE, and we're now sort of going into production with customers. And I think the improving reporting and visibility, again, I don't know how many of you have this audit issue, but even if you don't have that, just to know where devices are, to know what be able to go to your board and answer questions, right? To justify the expense that you've made. As if you use an Instant IQ, there's pretty powerful reporting in Instant IQ. So one of the great things is bringing, it's sort of it multiplies the benefit I think you're getting from it. You got this great Trafera warranty service. You've got this powerful Incident IQ ticketing, help desk ticketing service, and then you get all the goodness of both of those, and they both kind of become even more powerful because of the integration that we've done. So that's really what we've tried to do. Okay, next slide here. And so just to kind of give you a sense of kind of what we why you would do it and what we've done, is sort of a recap. But so we're trying to help you improve the help desk experience. I mean, obviously the topic of this is sustainable one-to-one programs, but I'm trying to drill into it here. Like, what specifically are we doing as two companies coming together to try and help you out to do the things that you need to do? And we're really trying to help that help desk experience. I mean, the annual COSIN survey kind of showed us that help desk is, I think, was the number 3 thing in need of, like the number 3 pain point in need of help, but budgets are the same. Like, overwhelmingly, what that survey told the world is that I need help with help desk, but I don't have any more money to do that. How do I do it? And I think we're doing what we can to help you in that regard. So this is a no-cost integration. If you have Trafera and Incident IQ, we are going to help you do this integration. And I think when you get this in place, I think it's a piece. It's not the only thing. Putting a sustainable, as Scott has alluded to, putting a sustainable one-to-one program, I mean, it's not a trivial thing, right? But I think there's people, there's process, there's roadmap, as Scott mentioned, but you also having the right technology in place and the right tool set is a key part of you being able to do this in a reasonable way, without killing yourself. And again, to do it with operational excellence, to have real-time visibility instead of using a spreadsheet, those types of things that are going to make you, make your life simpler, but also make the experience for your users a lot better, right? And your other stakeholders. So I think that's really good. And I think it does do that. It does simplify governance. I mean, where the devices are in the process at any given moment. And then I think just that improved reporting that I mentioned, like better visibility in real time into what's going on, is really, helpful. And then to Scott's, example, which I've heard 100 times myself talking to customers of, just the struggle of being able to know where devices are at any given moment. And if they are in repair, what's the status of that repair, trying to stay on top of that, being able to do that better, it will lower your total cost of ownership for these devices, right? So that you don't have this issue of devices lingering somewhere and you're not following up on them. So that's really what we're trying to do with this. Let's show you a little bit on the next slide about kind of what it looks like. And then we'll talk to you about, if you're interested, how to kind of get the ball rolling on it. So once you've done this integration, and I want to point out, this is not a heavy lift, just to be clear. We're now putting people in production. This is not like a crazy amount of work for you or for us, frankly. The engineers that have worked on this, both on the Trafera side and the Incident IQ side, have consulted with customers to create it, and they've been very thoughtful. And while new technology always has lessons to learn, this is quite a light lift. And I think it's proving to be pretty immediately helpful to people, paying off right out of the gate. So now, as you can see from this asset detail pane in Incident IQ, for a particular asset, you can see now, because of the API connection that we've made between our two platforms, if that particular device is covered by Trafera. And then up in the upper right-hand corner, what you're seeing there is just an icon. We were worried about showing you a live demo just in case it doesn't stream well or something, but this is what we'll show you if you're interested. And it's quite simple, actually, is as your agents are working tickets and they get ready, maybe they're doing warranty repair, the upper right-hand circle is showing you kind of a shopping cart experience where you're adding devices that require warranty repair from Trafera to a shopping cart. And then when you're ready, you submit them, order boxes, order shipping labels. So all that has kind of been worked out. So in that instance here, we have 2 devices ready to be shipped to Trafera. We talk to customers. Some of them are like, I do 1 or 2 at a time. And then sometimes I get a whole bunch. Sometimes I'm submitting 1. Sometimes I submit a stack. So we wanted to give you the flexibility to do that however it makes sense for you. All right, so next slide. So that's really what we're doing. This is just this next slide is sort of a little bit different view, just to kind of show you, to give you a sense of what we're talking about. So in this case, you see a list of devices instead of a single device. You can see in the list which are covered by Trafera and which aren't, both by the fact that it says covered by Trafera, but actually in your console, there's the background is a different color. It doesn't come through super well here, but it's like a light blue background. So if that middle Dell Latitude 3500, if that one wasn't covered, it would be pure white instead of blue. So you can see these. What's actually happened here in this particular case, we've highlighted the Trafera Platinum in that little circle up there, because we've just created a simple custom filter that will show us, like, maybe you have different warranty plans through Trafera that do, some are, more comprehensive than others. This is the Platinum Trafera that would allow you to, do parts repair and things like that. So this is one kind, and you can see all of them that are covered under that in a single unified view. And then of course you could create another view very simply to look at other sort of warranty devices that fall under other warranty coverages. So this is
I will say too,
yeah, go ahead.
one of the things that I love in talking to districts about this is, and you can't see it in this view, but when you pull this up, not only does it say what's covered, it'll say what level of coverage it has, and it says the dates of that coverage. And I love the fact that literally one push of a button, I can see, oh, here's all my devices. Oh, I see these devices have coverage through this year. These devices have coverage through next year, the year after that. And from an asset management and planning perspective, it's just so easy to kind of see that. And the thing I love about it too is when I'm talking with my superintendent, my CBO, my board, my principals, whoever it is, because that's there and it has kind of that ticking clock reminder a little bit. Oh, hey, these aren't going to last forever. They are going to have to be replaced at some point. It kind of creates a little bit of that urgency but also kind of shares in that communication of, like, when you go to them and say, hey, these devices are now 4 years old, we need to replace them, or you're creating that sustainability plan for obsolescence, just to have that transparency, I think really, really, really helps. And again, you aren't doing this huge heavy lift. You aren't going, it's just there. And I love that. And I love the fact that it's completely accurate data that's ready to rock and roll. You don't have to do anything to update it. Yeah, I mean, it's awesome.
So just to clarify something, because we've had this question from customers before. You didn't ask it, but I'm going to answer it before you ask it. Is the warranty process itself is real time. So the syncing that's happening between the platforms as you submit a device for warranty repair, as it goes to be repaired, as it returns to the proper location, all of that is basically nearly real-time data. There, in terms of the coverage that you get from Trafera, that's like a weekly sync. It can be done manually too, but in consulting with customers, probably didn't need to sync that every day because it just doesn't change every day. So that is a little configurable, but just so you know, that's kind of how it works. But generally, the sort of meat and potatoes of what you're doing is real-time syncing. So,
no,
all right,
awesome.
Move on to that next slide. Unless you had anything, Scott.
No.
Okay. So I don't know what questions you might have about this, but one thing I will say, I'll put it in the chat here. But if you think this is helpful to you, and if you have Incident IQ and you have Trafera, and you think this is interesting, and something that could help your team and help you put in place, again, if you have the right tool set, I just think it's going to be easier for you to get the people and process in place. I think that's what we're saying here. There's no cost associated with it. You're just getting more benefit, eliminating data silos, bringing these two services together in a meaningful way to help streamline, reduce your workload, reduce total cost of ownership. So if that's interesting, then you would just reach out to your Trafera person, seller, customer service person or seller. Same thing on the Instant IQ side, or just send an email. I just put it in the chat to customer support at instantiq.com and say, I'm so-and-so, and I'm interested in this integration, and we will fold you right into the flow. There are a few people ahead of you, which is a good thing, but we're getting to where we're moving through them quite quickly and getting a sense of, again, this is not a huge heavy lift. So just a reminder too, as Kate mentioned in the link, there's just a quick survey that will be coming to you. So make sure you take that if you're interested. So
I'll pop
anything else to finish up.
I'll pop that open right now for the survey. And again, really want to reiterate, it's free, it's ready to rock and roll. It's just an awesome improvement. So I really want to thank you all for your time today, Preston. Always an absolute joy to connect with you about this. I'm super stoked about this topic, about sustainability. If you'd like to have any questions or continue the conversation about creating a sustainable work one-to-one initiative or implementing your technology, I would love to connect and with you. Myself, you can always get a hold of me. Just say that you want to connect with Scott, with your sales person with Trafera. I'll also toss my email in the chat there. And it was an absolute joy connecting with you. Make sure that you fill out that survey so that you can get that coffee. Super appreciate you guys, and have an awesome day. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Once you've done your exit survey, you can bounce out. I am going to put on a little Nina Simone while we close out, because I love Nina Simone. She's awesome.
And good luck to everybody as they ramp up to start a school. My goodness, we didn't even mention that. So.
Flying high, you know how I